Good morning, YouTube. How you doing? It's Pretty Boy coming. Well, I figured I'd make y'all another video today. It's been a little while. I've been trying to get on that one a week tip, but I get a little distracted. Been rolling. I'm down here in Florida right now. I came from where'd I come from? Ohio on this load. We've been playing in the snow a little bit this week already up there in the Northeast. Some tips for y'all out of Florida. Okay, so when you go out of Florida, a lot of loads going up to Pennsylvania and stuff. Kind of hard to find a load going west. You know, I'd like to get back to that Midwest area. That's where the good paying freight's at. But I always get suckered into taking them loads going back to Florida. So I'm gonna make this video kind of just an update, and I'll talk a little bit about Florida rates and stuff like that right quick, and some of the other places, like the Northeast. Some places I'll give you some tips on where you want to stay out of. So start out this week. We started out. I left out of the house last week. I had a good paying load. Paid me $3,500 to take a load down to where did I deliver that load? I delivered it right back home in Tampa. I live in Tampa. That's where I'm from, so I delivered a load back down there. Was it Tampa? No, I'm sorry. I was wrong. It was Bradenton. I delivered a load to Bradenton out of Indiana, Whitestown, Indiana, I believe it was. Maybe about $3,500. It was a good paying load. Now, when I tell you $3,500, for those that aren't with Landstar, I'm telling you the number rate on the board. My cut out of that, if I broke that down for y'all, which I will, let me pull that one back up. Let me give y'all some real deal numbers here, all right? Here we go. It was a 2-stop load. I write everything down, everything on a little pad. I keep all the bills too, but I write everything down. So anyway, it was a 2-stop load. It had a first stop in Tampa, Builder's First Choice over there, and then finaled in Bradenton. That's where it was. So finaled up in Bradenton. It was a light load. It was actually supposed to weigh 25,000 pounds. Never mind. I correct. It wasn't a light. It was supposed to weigh 25,000. When I picked it up, it weighed 36,000. Whatever. It paid $34.50. Line haul was $25.30. Out of that $25.30, if I get my little handy dandy Landstar card here, if I look up, let's just say $2,500 to give you a roundabout number. That pays me about $1,630. $2,500 would be $1,625 at 65%. So let's say $1,630 on that. And then I had $368 on fuel surcharge that you get all together. They gave me stop pay of $150. You get that, and a service incentive they gave me of $402. I haven't heard of the service incentive yet. That's just what was on the bill. I'm not complaining. I didn't notice Landstar gets a cut of that, so another tricky way around it. Usually I put stop pay, because stop pay or securement, they don't get a cut of that. So with that being said, on that load, I got paid, let's see, the advance possibility on that load was $1,292. I did go ahead and take the full advance to pay for fuel for a while. With these advances, I've been playing around with different ways to figure it out. There's two ways you can a couple different ways you can handle the advances. That $1,292, say we'll go on this load. $1,292 available advance on this load, okay? You can take what you need for fuel, which I think I spent about $700, $700 maybe on fuel. My truck gets horrible fuel mileage, I'll tell you that right now. So I can advance that part. When you advance, they charge you, let me check the clock. They charge me a fee. They charge you like a couple bucks or whatever to advance the load, no biggie. But that's every time you do it. So I've been playing with, I was advancing just enough to cover fuel, but then if I don't have enough to cover fuel and I got to advance again a little bit more off that load, the fees just start adding up. So I'm playing with just taking the full advance and seeing how that goes. And then At the end of the pay week, just take whatever's on my fuel card, sending it to the bank. We'll see how that works. So anyway, on that one, I took a full advance, $1,292. After the advance, I still get $1,150 coming in a paycheck. And so $1,150 the paycheck plus whatever I didn't spend out of that advance on fuel. That's my part. So I got paid pretty decent to come to Florida. It was 1,180 miles for, let's see, $1,292. Let's say 13, 23, 24, like $2,450 in my pocket on 1,100 miles. 2-day run, not bad. Here's the problem with coming to Florida though. This is where it gets tricky. Come back out. I won't haul the $1.30, $1.40, $1.50 a mile rates. And I know that by my deadhead back up to Georgia, I'll probably end up there anyway. It's the principle. I'm deadheading back up to Georgia. Besides the principle, I'm deadheading back up to Georgia. I'm empty, I'm light, I'm not burning much fuel. The problem out of Florida is there's a lot of loads you can pick up maybe $1.30 a mile going somewhere, which is horrible. But they're 44,000 pounds and they're going like 1,000, 1,100 miles. If I'm gonna haul a cheap freight to get out of Florida, it's not going that far, and it ain't gonna be that heavy. If I haul cheap, it won't be heavy. If I haul heavy, it won't be cheap. One or the other. Or, you know, because I'm not gonna put that, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So I deadhead up to Georgia. Now, it cost me more than fuel, but whatever. I just can't. I don't want to, I don't know. I just don't like that cheap freight. So after that, we went to, picked up a load in Kathleen, Georgia. We got a Frito-Lay's over there. I work with them quite often trying to get out of Georgia, out of Florida, you know. They got drop and hook loads going all over. They're pretty light loads. They're all right as far as the pay, depending on what you can get, which way you go and what lane you're working. This one, of course, goes up to Pennsylvania, Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. I headed up there. I think this load paid me a total of $1,900. Now, again, that's not my cut. That's $1,900 total. I get my cut out of that. Yada, yada, yada. The fuel, it was like $1,075 on the line haul to me. That was mine. That's my 65%. Plus fuel surcharge, like $280. Brings me to about $1,355, somewhere around there is what I got paid on this load. It was 835 miles, 850 miles. Drop and hook, light load, only weighed 13,000 pounds. Drop that load up there. Then that's where it got tricky. I had to find a load. I wanted to get back over to the Midwest, you know, because I like the Midwest. But I actually was looking at the board and I found this load to pay 4 G's over in Ohio. So I'm like, how do I get to that load? So I found this load from Emporium, Pennsylvania. Now, Emporium, Pennsylvania is up there just north about 80 miles, 90 miles north of I-80. Probably north of I-80, due south of Buffalo, New York. So like upstate PA. Got over there the night before, parked up at the shipper. They said I could park there. Froze my ass off, y'all, froze. They said it was gonna snow, whatever, no biggie. It started snowing. And I was like, oh man, I'm freezing. But it stopped that night. So I was like, oh, cool, yeah, okay. So I'm kind of watching the weather and I'm looking at the maps and I'm like, man, it ain't gonna snow no more. All right, we're good. So I'll tell you a messed up story here. I shut the truck off and I woke up about 5 o'clock in the morning, freezing my ass off. I'm like, oh no. I jumped in the front seat. Started up the truck. Truck was giving me a little problem starting. I'm like, what? Oh no. I pulled my window curtain open, look outside. Sure enough, man, it is coming down, snowing. It's probably a couple inches on the ground. I'm like, wow, how'd I sleep through that? So I left the truck running, finished out. I had to pick up there, and then I had to go 28 miles further north to Kersey, over by St. Mary's, Pennsylvania. It's called Kersey, Pennsylvania, but right there, St. Mary's. Little tiny small town, another little tiny small town to pick up the rest of the load. And again, it was coming down. Roads were covered. By this time, there was probably, I don't know, 5-6 inches of snow on the ground. Wasn't that big deal, but I was cold. Truck is a mess still. I got snow and salt all over it. I tried to go to 3 different truck washes to get it washed, and the lines are just too long. So I don't know. I might have to wash it myself today when I get to the house. Anyway, so I picked up this load, and it was going to Whirlpool Drop and Hook over in Greenville, Ohio. That got me close to the load I wanted to get to, which is this load I'm currently under. So I dropped that load off. That load only paid me like $1,100, and it was going 400 miles. But I had a big deadhead on that load. I had like 250-mile deadhead. But I wanted to get to this load because I know this load would make up for that. So let's get to this load that I'm on. This load here, loaded doors coming out of Troy, Ohio. Had 2 stops, one in Naples, which I'm waiting on my clock to come back so I can deliver now. I got 1 more minute to start my and then the finals in Fort Myers. Paid $39.50 for the load. Line haul was $34.35. Out of that, I get $2,234. Fuel is $402. Stop pay $75. All right. Advance is $1,450. After taking the advance, still I got a $1,250 paycheck coming to me if I took the full advance. So you do the math. That one only cost me about $700 fuel. It's about 1,180 miles, 1,160 miles, something like that. 2-day run. Again, so let's see, 1,450. Let's see, 15. It's about $2,800 I get paid off that load to go 1,148 miles. Weighs 33,000 pounds. Is what it is. So there's some real numbers for y'all. Now the problem is, here, let me go ahead and give you the other end. Guess what? I brought myself back to Florida. See, these Florida loads, don't let them trick you now. They get me. They get me all the time because they get loads like that. They pay good. They pay $4 grand. I mean, a 2-day run, 1,150 miles. What do? You got to take, I'm going to take that. But here's the problem. When you take that, just realize you're going to spend even more of that. It's not going to be quite as good because now I'm dropping off Fort Myers. Guess what my next load picks up? Georgia. I got like a 400-mile deadhead to get back up to Georgia to pick up my next load because I won't haul that cheap freight. So it is what it is. There's some real numbers for y'all. Now back to the Florida, staying out of Florida. Hold on, let me look at this. Like I said, I already explained why it's kind of better. It's better if you don't live in Florida, stay the hell out of Florida. West Texas, same thing. You get good rates going out there. It's a dead zone coming back. Can't find nothing. You're going to be deadheading a long time. So, which is fine, but make sure you get paid enough to cover a good chunk of deadhead back out, and it's worth your 70 hours, using up the hours on your 70-hour clock. That's the biggest thing. You're going out west, Colorado, Utah, Oregon. Good paying freight out there. Dead zone. It's hard to get anything back out. You get stuck. Northeast, the severe Northeast. You get paid real good to go up in Massachusetts, Connecticut, all those up there. Not to mention the dead zone getting back out, but the tolls. The tolls will eat you up here, man. You're at Landstar, you're responsible for all your own tolls. It's up to you, whatever. And don't listen to them. Don't go, when you don't got Easy Pass, don't go through the Easy Pass lane, especially in Pennsylvania. You get a fat toll violation. They call it a toll violation. So if the toll is like $25, $30, with the toll violation, it's like $100 to $150. You add that up, you almost got a $200 toll bill, one toll. Yeah, I learned that one the hard way. The orientation, they told us, just go through, they'll take a picture of your license plate, they'll bill us, we'll pay it. Well, Landstar will pay it all right. They take it right out your check. Don't even ask, no questions asked. I got one toll for $373. They took it out of my paycheck and paid it. Didn't even ask me no questions. Like, come on, man. Don't that seem ridiculous? $300-something for a toll? One toll? You should have called me before you start taking my money, man. Well, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, lesson learned the hard way. Don't do that again. I got that one straightened out with the state of Pennsylvania. So, but either way, let's see what else.